So this video is going to be one of the most serious videos that I will probably ever make on this channel of mine. This is something that I need you to watch from start to finish because this video has the power to alter the trajectory of your life, and I mean that with every ounce of my being. So let this video serve as a warning to every single young man out there. I will share the horror story of a family man, a father, who failed to defeat this terrible addiction. And the cost of that failure was unimaginable. His mind became so perverted by pran that he ended up doing the unthinkable to his child. But this man wasn't born twisted. He wasn't born this way. He is simply the result of what can and will happen to anyone who gets addicted to pran and doesn't take the necessary actions to free themselves from it. The story I'm about to share with you could be the very fate that awaits you. Do not take this lightly. So who is this man? How did this happen? First, let's go back in time to when he was a teenager. He grew up on a small farm in a rural part of the country. He loved nature and he really enjoyed tending to the animals on the farm. In school, he was a high achiever academically and he was a talented artist at heart. But school wasn't all sunshine and rainbows though. He was very skinny and actually got bullied for it. And this made him deeply insecure about his physical appearance. He would actually begin to start fighting back against these bullies, like physically, but it didn't really solve the problem that he was facing at school. He also had an older brother who started to get into a lot of trouble in his late teenage years. His brother was going down a very negative and dark downward spiral in his life. He was having problems with drinking and he actually ended up rolling his car a few times. And unfortunately, the brother would go on to take his own life with a gun. Why did he take his own life? Well, the only reason I've been told is he just simply kept finding himself in the wrong places at the wrong times. That is all that I know. And that's a very traumatic experience for anyone to go through. Imagine the pain of losing a loved one because they took their own life. That's heartbreaking. You never get the chance to say, I love you, ever again. All the unresolved arguments and pointless bickering that you can never resolve because they're gone. The regret would be almost unbearable. Due to the bullying at school, being deeply insecure about how skinny he was, and now the trauma of losing your own brother, this led him to seek unhealthy ways just to cope with the pain of all of this. He refused to turn to alcohol because of what it did to his own brother. So he turned to something that was free to access, available day or night, from the comfort of his own bedroom, completely hidden away in secret behind closed doors. It worked like a miracle drug. He found that pran would help him to forget the anxiety of going to school tomorrow only to get bullied, to forget his deep insecurity of how skinny he was, to forget the trauma of your own brother taking his life. With no real support system or much knowledge on mental health, he turned to the only thing that seemed to genuinely help him, which was pran. It helped him numb that pain, to distract his mind. It made him feel something other than misery. Now bear in mind, internet pran had only just come out. Back then, there was no such thing as self-improvement, let alone NoFap. It's just like when cigarettes first came out, literal doctors encouraged people to smoke. Because back then, no one knew that smoking cigarettes would lead to cancer and death. In the same regard, no one knew how toxic pran would be. All this man knew was, pran takes the pain away and makes me feel good, so I'm gonna keep watching it. And as time goes on, eventually the man crossed paths with a beautiful girl and they ended up getting married. And they even started a family. He moved countries with his new wife in search of a better future for his two young children. Then eventually they settled and was able to provide a quality of life for their two young kids that he never experienced growing up in a rural part of a poor town. This took courage. Imagine flying to the opposite side of the world with two young kids. You don't know anyone in this new foreign country. You don't know how safe it actually is to raise kids in this new country. You don't even know what the culture is actually like. That's a huge risk to take. And he succeeded. He was a very humble man and just wanted what was best for his family. However, the cracks eventually started to show. On two separate occasions, the oldest son, who was still a child, would walk in on him viewing Pran. Out of frustration of being caught, he would rage and shout at that poor little child and just basically tell him to go away and don't ever come in here again. That child, the son, would later go on and tell the mother or his wife what he saw. And this led to the family splitting up. And that son would blame himself for the reason he would see his mother crying herself to sleep every night. For the pain that has been inflicted, that child would blame himself, even though it's not his fault. And just to save time, fast forward a bit, the two parents do end up reconciling under the premise that the father is now a changed man and he's changed his ways, right? So things go back to normal very briefly until the youngest child, the daughter, tells the mother that dad had been doing unimaginable things to her. Imagine the betrayal of the said wife. Imagine that you've just reconciled and now you just get told by a child what the person who you just forgiven and are trying to make amends with has been doing unspeakable things to the youngest child behind her back. Imagine the betrayal of that and just the horror of hearing that from a child. So she does what any mother would do, flees straight to the police station, and these poor kids get interrogated for hours on end, the whole day interrogated, which results in a restraining order being put in place against the father. And now this poor mother has to provide a roof over the head for the kids, feed them, still pay for school and everything, take care of them under her own income, whilst dealing with the betrayal, the pain, just coping with this horrible, horrifying reality of what, like this, that you would never expect that would happen to your own family, right? Imagine all of that. That's just heartbreaking. So some time passes and the father, the man, he is due to be in court, and we all know he was going to be sentenced for a very, very long time. And out of fear of what the other inmates would do to him in prison, and out of the sheer guilt that he felt, he ended up taking his own life as well. And his wife could barely take this news that now he's gone in after himself. She hardly ate for months on end and was pretty much drinking herself to death. Now imagine being that son, the eldest son. You look up to your dad as a literal superhero. And then this superhero goes and betrays you, betrays your entire family. He does the unspeakable to your little sister. Then he goes and takes his own life. And then you get to watch your own mother lose so much weight that you don't even recognize her anymore. Seeing her crying her eyes out for days on end, for months at a time, as she drowns her pain with alcohol. You see that kid, that eldest son, it was me. That man that did the unspeakable and took his own life was my dad. So the question is, how did Pran lead him to do those things? Let me tell you, it is very, very simple. The nature of any addiction goes like this. No matter what the substance is, you experience that first high and you feel like you're on cloud 9. Wow. Whatever pain you're feeling, whatever, it disappears and you feel so high, so happy, so like euphoric. It's incredible. And then you come down, right? Now you don't like being down here. You want to go back up to where you were, right? So you try that substance again to get to that same high. The only issue is because you've already had that high, you've already started to build some tolerance to it. So that second high will never get you as high as that first time. It'll only get you just as close as it can, and then it comes back down. Now, you're like, what the hell? Why didn't I get that same feeling? So what do? You either need more of that same substance, or you need a stronger version of it. It's the same with anything. With alcohol, you start off with the beer. Oh, get a nice little buzz, try it again. That's not the same. Either you drink more beer or you start switching to spirits and whiskey and stronger alcohol, right? Exact same thing with Pran. You start off with just you could call it a vanilla thing, maybe, just some chick that you saw on an ad and that got you excited the first time. And then you go to see the ad again and it doesn't do the same thing for you. So you start digging, start getting a bit more and more and more. And then that's how you go from one side to more extreme, because the substance of the Pran gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And you do end up viewing more and more and more, right? That's just how it works. And this is exactly why post-nut clarity is a thing, right? We've all experienced that, where, you do the deed and then you just take a moment and step back and just think to yourself, what the hell am I watching? How did it get to this, right? You get overwhelmed with shame and disgust, right? Because you didn't start there. That's the nature of addiction. You go more and more extreme. That's why post-nut clarity is a thing, because you're shocked at what the hell are you watching? And if you don't stop now, dude, it only gets worse. You're gonna go down the rabbit holes of more and more extreme stuff. And then eventually pixels on the screen are just not gonna be able to do it for you. There's only so much that you're gonna be able to get out of the pixels on the screen before you start turning to real life. And that's a whole new level of a stronger substance, because it's actually in real life, right? And this whole spiral of needing a stronger substance, because that's just how addiction works with prawn, is exactly what happens to cases like Ted Bundy. He didn't grow up perverted or weird or whatever. No, he grew up in a loving household. What happened? He stumbled upon prawn. And then the cycle of addiction, you need stronger substance. He started acting out in the real world because it gave him a bigger high. Still not gonna be able to match that first high he ever felt, but closer than anything he's done. And then now the new norm for him is tolerance is built to we act out in person now. And that's how you get these extreme cases. The thing is, no one is born like that. No one is born twisted. No one is born weird like that. It's just how the nature of addiction works. Anyone can end up as another Ted Bundy. Anyone can end up doing what my dad did, okay? None of these cases, the two cases, my dad and Ted Bundy, they both started the same clean slate. It's what happened? Prawn. Destroyed them, perverted their brain. And if you don't think it can happen to you, you need to wake up right now, because it will happen to you if you do not stop this addiction. I mean that with all my heart and soul. Don't think you are invincible to this. Don't think there's nothing wrong with me, that's not gonna happen. It will happen to you. That's how addiction works. This prawn thing is a spiritual weapon designed to destroy you. Look at my own dad, man. Look at this is the story I have to share with you before I die. The world needs to hear this. This is prawn. This is the weapon designed against you. But no weapon that has been put against you will prevail. You have the power to defeat this. You have it within you. So stop now before your fate ends up like my dad or like Ted Bundy. You have the power within you. And if you need any help, feel free to reach out to me. My Instagram's gonna be plugged down below. DM me anything you need, brother. I am here for you. This topic, it's so closely, it is so important for me to help as many guys as I can before they end up suffering the fate of my father. Imagine your son one day. If you don't stop this, your son one day is gonna be like me right now, having to deal with all of that because you right now were too much of a coward to stop and stand firm and resist the enemy, or to just flee from it, man. Your fate depends on what you do right now. Are you gonna free yourself, or is that what your fate wants to be? Because that's your two options right now. Please make the right choice. I trust that you will. With all being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.